Matron here, once again bringing you a StarCraft 2 commentary, this time Game 3 in the best of 3 series between Taurent spawning as the orange Protoss and SLush spawning as the blue Zerg. This is the third game of this MLG DC tournament series. SLush was able to even up the series in that second game on Lost Temple with pretty good Muta, Roach, and Hydra play. Taurent was just not aggressive enough at the start. He did wait until he had a lot more Colossus than I think he needed, and SLush was able to counter with a number of Corruptors. So we'll see whether there's any sort of aggression here. This is the third and final deciding game of this series. So if Taurent wants to knock off the top Zerg player, the number 8 seed in all of this MLG tournament, he needs to be a little bit more aggressive perhaps in this game. Saw he went for a 4-gate last game, but he just did not attack early. SLush was on 2 bases and just 4 spine crawlers for defense. We see an early probe scout come out for Taurent. He's going to try to deny any sort of fast expand. Looks like SLush is going to be able to take that guy out just like he did in the last game. Another probe heading out. Taurent wants to make sure that he's going to be able to dance around and prevent this expansion here. The spawning pool goes down, a 13 spawning pool for SLush. We'll see if he throws up a Vespian Geyser. He's going to do that right now. 13 Geyser as well. And now Taurent's just going to try to prevent this expansion and do some more poking and see what SLush is going to go for. He is throwing up a second gateway, so a different strategy than the first 2 games. He had been throwing up a Cybernetics core as a second building, so now we may see some Zealot pressure. He is saving Chrono here. He's not using it on his workers. He needs to get out another pylon, or else he's going to quickly sidecap himself. First Zealot's coming out. Here comes that pylon. And this first Zealot is rallied out front here. Should possibly be rallied to SLush's base. There it goes. So, not sure where that probe went. If we look at the units lost, it looks like he did lose that second probe as well. So SLush is just merciless against these probe scouts. Something we don't often see these pro players do. A lot of times they just let each other scout until they get those first 2 units, but SLush is taking down those probes, wants no proxies, no extra information going to his opponent. He's going to get up a Roach Warren, which would be good to counter these Zealots. First Zealot is out. Not sure why he didn't push out here and try to do a little bit of harass against this queen. If we look at the unit count, there are 3 Zealots up now, making their way towards SLush's base against 4 Zerglings and 1 queen. Looks like he's now cut Zealot production here. Just 1 coming out. See if he creates a second here. Looks like he is not. He's now throwing up a Cybernetics core and gas, so the initial pressure here by these Zealots might be all that Taurent's deciding to do. He may be trying to bait SLush into a little bit of an overreaction, as SLush is now getting out 3 Roaches. A lot of times these Zerg players will overreact with a little too many Zerglings against these Zealots. But SLush does know that there are very few Zealots coming out now, finally being chronoed out this sentry, and now Taurent's going to pull back. Not sure why. These Roaches hadn't come out yet. He could have done a little bit more damage to this queen, or tried to take out those Zerglings if SLush was foolish enough to engage. Now we're getting more chrono on the gateway as Taurent tries to amass a force here. SLush is going to move out. He's got 7 Roaches and a few Zerglings here, so a very powerful army. Roaches doing 16 damage against these Zealots from 4 range now. Looks like we do have Warp Gate Tech being chronoed. Looks like Taurent's going to try to move out against these Roaches, but the Roaches are going to bottle them up in here. Good force field there. Taurent just does not have enough units to take on these Roaches. We see these Zerglings just in the center of the field. Could contain here by SLush. Taurent's not going anywhere. It's just on these 2 gateways as well. Looks like we have a 3rd gateway finally coming up. SLush does have sight on this high ground from this Overlord, so these Roaches are going to try to weaken the shields. It looks like he's gotten a few of these Zealots down about halfway and worked the shields off on him. feel like SLush is taking this opportunity. He does have map control to throw down that second hatchery. He does have 12 lings coming, so he might want to wait for these lings. He also has ling speed coming. He's retreating with these roaches. This Overlord could possibly go down. It does. So SLush needs to get up a few more Overlords. He does finally have all these lings coming out. It does have ling speed. He can do a good surround here. He could possibly use these tall grass. Taurent does not see all these Zerglings coming. He's going to get a surround. He's going to be able to take down. These Stalkers are surrounded. Some force fields going down, trying to keep the Zerglings off these Stalkers, but the Stalkers are going to be able to focus down. And now all these lings are just going to flood into Taurent's base, and he has to GG. See a quick game here. SLush was able to take down this lower-seeded Protoss opponent and show the quality Zerg player that he really is. Moved out with those roaches, took map control, pushed back those early zealots, was able to throw down a second hatchery, and just came in with a bunch of lings there with that speed, got a great surround, was able to take down Taurent's forces and end this 3-game series. So SLush moves on to the next round of the winner's bracket. Taurent moves on to the loser's bracket. Again, double elimination in this MLG DC tournament. So if you do lose out of the winner's bracket, you move on to the loser's bracket. If you lose from there, you are out. So we'll see SLush and Taurent possibly later on in another few series. Going to keep casting these 3-game series. A lot of them very exciting, showing some very quality play. So we saw the Void Ray cheese in the first game, and then SLush just take control in that second and third game and take it down and represent for the Zerg. So thanks for watching. Look forward to the next series, and see you next time.